Hey YouTube, this is Mad Movie Mark with another Mad Movie Mark movie review. Today we're going to be doing the 2004 drama Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind as I continue to count down my top 10 favorite movies of all time. This is going to be number 5. I know it's been a while since I have done 10 through 6. That is just because I watched a lot of random movies with my fiance on Netflix. I had a lot of schoolwork to do, but now I'm out for a month for summer. And to be honest, this movie makes me a complete wreck of emotions, so I have to be in the right mindset to watch it. And I guess for the past week and a half, I wasn't in that mindset. I watched it a couple days ago, and here we are. So let me go ahead and go over my top 10 thus far. Number 10 was Magnolia. Number 9 was Amadeus. Number 8 was Memento. Number 7 was Paths of Glory. And number 6 was The Jerk. And now we are once again at number 5, which is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So this movie stars Jim Carrey, who was not nominated for Best Actor for this movie. He was very robbed of that title. Whenever a lot of my friends know that I love movies, I used to do a movie podcast for 8 years. They will ask me who I think should have won an Oscar and did not. I will always say Jim Carrey, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That's my first go-to. It's important to compare that against what actually won, because you could just say any actor deserves an Oscar, but if the person who actually won it that year was more deserving, then you're wrong. So in 2005, Jamie Foxx won for Ray. Even though I think Jamie Foxx did a great job in Ray, I'm not a fan of the movie Ray, but I've only seen it once, so maybe I have to see it again. I just thought it was very long and boring. I think with Ray and Jamie Foxx, it's more of an issue of a popular musician who had decades and decades of music had just passed away. You have this up-and-coming actor who is also very good at singing and then very good at being a musician. Is coming up and doing this role, and I think it was like the right role, the right person at the right time. I do think Jim Carrey is better in this movie than Jamie Foxx was in Ray, which is why that is my go-to whenever anyone asks me that question. Also, this movie did not win Best Picture. That went to Million Dollar Baby. I am one of the biggest fans of Clint Eastwood as an actor and a director that you will probably ever find. One of my favorite war movies of all time is Letters from Iwo Jima, which would probably be right behind Paths of Glory for number 2 if I had to pick a number 2 favorite war movie of all time. And he won Best Picture for this movie, but I don't think he deserved it. Like I said, I love Million Dollar Baby, but I think that Eternal Sunshine should have won. And for the third award, where you can basically sweep the last part of the Oscars, Best Actress Kate Winslet was nominated, but she did not win. She lost to Hilary Swank from Million Dollar Baby. Another example of someone who did a very good job in her role, but I believe that Kate Winslet should have won. And my opinion is that Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind should have swept the Oscars, at least those 3 major categories that year. But what does my opinion matter? It doesn't. So they did win Best Adapted Screenplay, which they very much deserve because this is a very well-written movie. And I think I really think it should have won more. This is Jim Carrey's third drama, as far as I can remember. He did The Truman Show in the 90s, the late 90s. He did The Majestic, I think, in 2002, and then he did this in 2004. And I think this is the best of the 3, though I do love the other 2 as well. And I wish that he would have done more roles like this. I mean, he did 24, I believe, and he did other dramas that I'm not as happy with. But this, for me, is his quintessential role. I would choose this over any of his comedies any day. And you really see how much of a great actor he is. This is, Will Ferrell was in Stranger Than Fiction. I did that already as a comedic actor who went into drama, but I think Jim Carrey is a lot better at this. I loved Will Ferrell, but Jim Carrey is better in this role. So this movie is it's a tearjerker. I cry every time I watch this movie. It's a roller coaster, up and down of emotions. It stars, I'm just going to use their real names because Clementine is Kate Winslet. I don't remember offhand Jim Carrey's name in the movie because I just refer to him as Jim Carrey. But Jim Carrey plays a character who is lonely. He is very, keeps to himself. He's an introvert. He has a hard time communicating at all with anyone, but especially with women. And basically, if he was going to be in a relationship, he would probably have to fall into it. He would have to be the one being pursued, basically. In this movie, he is with a girl before he's with Clementine, but you only know her by word of mouth. You never actually see her. I think he's kind of in a process of breaking up with her, especially after he meets Clementine. So him and Clementine meet. She is very outgoing. She is kind of take the bull by the horns, seize the day, make it what you will type of thing. And Jim Carrey is lonely. They're both lonely, but he keeps to himself more than anything else. They end up getting into this relationship. The relationship doesn't last that long. Everything that they loved about each other in the beginning, they end up hating about each other later on. Her outgoingness becomes a problem with alcoholism. He accuses her of sleeping around, but we never know if that's real. She claims that it's not. It's probably just him, his insecurities. And then with Jim Carrey, she loved the fact that he was a nice guy, that he is a little insecure, that he does need a little bit of a push to get things done. And she loved that about him. And at the end, at the middle of the movie, they end up hating each other and hate everything about them. So Kate Winslet goes to get a medical procedure done where she gets him erased out of her memory. He finds out through a mutual friend that this happened, and then he becomes very emotionally distraught. This isn't something that he was ready for. Like I said, he's insecure, and when something like this happens to someone who is insecure, things go off in their head that aren't necessarily rational, and he does a very irrational thing and decides that he is also going to erase her from his mind. So the bulk of the movie is the procedure of him erasing her from his brain. As he's erasing her, he's going through the memories of his life with her. He's going through all the good times and all the bad times. He realizes that this is a mistake, that he loves her, that he doesn't want to erase her from his memory, so he tries desperately to hold on to things. Him and Clementine talk in these scenes, and they're both trying desperately to find a way to stay together and to not let the memories go away. And then eventually they do. There's going to be some spoilers here, but this is an old movie. Eventually, the memories do get erased, and they meet up again, somewhat randomly, but somewhat not randomly, and they end up falling for each other again. They figure out that each one erased themselves from their memory, and they decide that they want to go at it again. So I left out a lot of stuff in that, but that's because I think that you should see it and get the full emotional roller coaster of this movie as it's happening. So wow, when I first saw this movie in theaters, I wasn't as I didn't pay as much attention to the love story as I did the cinematography in this movie, which is fantastic. It's probably some of the best cinematography, at least camera work, cinematography that I've ever seen in my life. Set design, it's absolutely amazing. There's scenes when Jim Carrey is trying to hide from the memories that he used to have by creating new, different memories. That way, if he hides in a new memory, nothing gets erased and the process stops. And there's scenes where he's a little, like he's supposed to be a little child and he's in the sink bath water, or he's under the table. There's a beautiful scene on the beach when they're in bed, and there's just an open beach just sitting there. And my favorite scene in the whole movie is at the end where this house is, they're in a house. This is like the last place that's going to be in this sequence where he's erasing her. And so this is kind of one of the final moments that you see. and the house is just falling apart around him. And it's beautiful. The words that they speak to each other, the things that they say, the fact that as his life is falling apart, the house is falling apart around him. His emotions are falling apart. His sanity is falling apart. Everything just is basically chaos, but the scene is structured so that it almost seems peaceful and serene as chaos is happening around him. That is my dog Lucky. I'm sure you guys have seen him before. But the movie is absolutely beautiful. What's great about the movie and what strikes me the most about the movie is that you realize, well, at least I realize that these are two people who really aren't probably they're not good together. um, they broke up for a reason. They tried a relationship. They broke up for a reason. And then instead of moving on and healing like a normal person would do, they both made irrational decisions to erase themselves. The healing process was not able to happen. So then at the end of the movie, when they realize what's going on, I feel like they're clinging to each other in order to help that healing process. Do I think that their relationship is going to work out? I probably not, would be my guess. But I want it to. I want them to work out, but they're really not good for each other. And if and I'm not sure they're going to be able to get past these problems that they saw in each other unless one of them really changes. And trying to change someone in a relationship is a lot harder than just believing that it can happen. Most people believe that they can change someone in a relationship, and maybe someone does change in a relationship for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, but they will always revert back to where they were. I believe that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's examples where someone changed and changed forever. But I think that once you're older and you get into habits, it's really hard to break those habits. And there's so many things that each character did in the relationship that annoyed the other person, that even if you were to change one major thing, there's all these other things that would get in the way of a happy relationship. Opposites attract, and these two people are definitely opposite. I can sympathize with Jim Carrey's character. I am the same way when it comes to relationships with people. I'm very subdued, kind of. I'm shy. I don't know if you would believe that, but it's very much true. I have a lot of insecurities. When I watch this movie, I see myself as Jim Carrey. The emotions that he's going through, the feelings that he's going through when he's sitting down at a beach and there's no one talking to him and he's just sitting there and he says, I never know what to say at these type of things. I've been there. Like, I know what he's talking about. And the pain that each of them go through in this movie is definitely, they express it very well. They're such great actors in this movie. I didn't even get to any of the other people who are in this movie. Mark Ruffalo's in it, Elijah Wood is in it, Kristen Dunst is in it. They all give great performances as well, but the movie really revolves around these two characters, and I think it's fantastic. This isn't a long review so far. I've recorded this review about 40 times now, just because it's hard to really get out everything I love about this movie and properly portray the emotions and properly portray the feelings. This is really a movie where you have to watch it, you have to feel it. And I recommend everyone do it. Everyone watch this movie. Feel what's going on, and I hope you'll love it. I think you will. I just think that it's a fantastic movie. I've seen it probably 9 or 10 times now, and I cry every time, and I'm not afraid to admit it. It's probably a good 50 or 60% of the movie that is happening. So. The bulk of the movie, I am an absolute mess. That's why I waited a couple days to do this review, because I figured I would be a mess. And then when I get to my number 3 favorite movie of all time, that will be the case again. Another emotional tearjerker of a movie. But anyway, the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is one of the easiest 10 out of 10s I've ever given. It is so fantastic. I can't think of anything about it that I don't like. The pacing is perfect, the acting is perfect, the story is perfect, the music. Like I said, the cinematography is some of the best I've ever seen in my entire life. Completely blown away by it. And I would definitely give it a watch, 10 out of 10. Next week is going to be my number 4 favorite movie of all time. And this is going to be a musical. So if anyone out there is a fan of musicals, you are going to want to see this one. It's going to be Singing in the Rain at number 4. Thank you. Have a good day.